One thing that I love about this chapter is not only is it a full-on showcase that Shin has fully come into his own as someone that is able to not replace Sakamoto, but stand in his shoes, if you will. I did appreciate the beginning of this chapter showing how everyone in the Sakamoto's gang is pulling their own weight. Whether it is Siba and his brother Mafuyu and the other JCC students, Amane, or if it's Lu and Wu Tang doing their own part of trying to handle the gun situation. We already know Heisuke, Kendaka, all of these people as well are out, even Boiled, doing their best to save the country of Japan. Not only does it show that these are all characters that have progressed past the natural definition of what an assassin should be. What is honestly the main clash of ideals here, at least between the Sakamoto gang and Oki and the remainder of the order. Remember, Oki is all about keeping assassins the way they should be, on top of the world, being able to stomp on the weak. Whereas Sakamoto, Shin, and all of his allies are fighting for the weak on behalf of the strong. It's a beautiful moment, and it does not only show to me that this is probably the final arc of the series, but again, that no matter what everybody says, or no matter what kind of criticisms that Yuto Suzuki gets for his writing, the very fact that he's able to bring all of these characters back together for one big final showdown against K is chef's kiss. You've even got freaking Granny Mio, the healer from all the way back in the Death Row Assassin arc, which is just showing you that Suzuki doesn't forget the goats. He always remembers the most important people. You've got the social media, Twitter trending. While you can always make jokes about how unaware the people and the civilians in Sakamoto days are, especially when you consider that a fighter jet just crashed into the Tokyo Tower, and as Uzuki and Shin are fighting, there are just people living their lives, working, walking around the streets, going to the aquarium. Again, keep in mind that they only just recently stopped the guns from going off. The beginning of this chapter is like, oh, people, the bullets stopped. Wow, it's gotten very quiet. Suzuki is able to use his background of the world as comedy constantly, and I think that's really all it's meant to be. The story of Sakamoto Days wouldn't make sense if the public were as smart as everybody else. It just wouldn't, and I'm completely okay with that. Hey guys, real quick, if you want to support the channel, make sure you go down to gamersubs.gg/noop and get 10% off your nootropics and energy supplement fix, and we'll get back to the video. And you know what else I'm okay with? I'm okay with how well Shin did in this fight against Uzuki. Because as Shin does mention, while he's fighting, he has to watch out for revealing any bloodlust or exposing any kind of emotions towards the main villain of the story. Because as Nagumo told him, and as we know from the Osaragi Shishiba incident, any slight hint of bloodlust possible can awaken the Takamura personality inside of Uzuki and make this an instant guaranteed loss for whoever is going up against him. Shin still admits, though, that Uzuki himself is a formidable threat, which I think a lot of people forget. A lot of people see Uzuki not always being the most powerful person in the room and just assume that Suzuki needed to give Takamura to Uzuki in order to make him an actual problem, but Kei Uzuki was always an order level threat, if not more so. You have to remember that this character was still someone that was able to fight against Sakamoto in his peak. Uzuki is and always will be a problem. Takamura definitely gives him a huge power boost, but I think that's more of a representation of Uzuki now embodying the actual bloodlust of the assassin world. We can see it as, you know, his whole plan playing out, right? This whole chaos that's going off. He's showing and even using Oki, someone who represents, again, this dirty underworld that the assassins used to use to be more powerful than everybody else and abuse their strength to stay on top of the world. Uzuki, as the leader of all of this, as the head of all of this, has also the physical manifestation of bloodlust. Takamura wasn't a person. Takamura wasn't an assassin. Takamura was a concept. He was an entity. At least that's how he's explained to us multiple times in the story. Now, obviously, I'm being facetious. Takamura was a real person, but what he represented is why Uzuki absorbed the personality. Does the power buff definitely help Uzuki maintain more of a dominance over the story? Yes. but it's more symbolism than it is Uzuki just needed to be powered up by Takamura in order to be a threat. Because we see right here, even Shin, who was able to fight and win against Tenkyu, is on the back foot against Uzuki pretty much the entire time. However, Shin is able to survive and hold his cool throughout this entire fight, not just because of all of the experiences that he's gained and learned from before, but even Uzuki mentions that Shin is starting to think and act like Sakamoto, which again is just a beautiful thing for Shin to actually be stepping into the shoes of the character that he's wanted to stand alongside of for more than 200 chapters now. Shin, noticing the fighter jet seat that had fallen and was in the moment and getting pushed back against Uzuki's speed and his weapon, decides to make use of his environment the best way he can, hit the eject button, and make them both fly out of the tower and into another building, the Aquarium, as we see at the very end of the chapter, which Uzuki himself admits is a very Sakamoto-like move. Sakamoto is known for using his environment to the best of his ability, and Shin is now able to think and act in a way that makes him almost as formidable of a threat no matter where he's fighting. It doesn't matter if you're on land, air, or sea, Shin is able to throw hands with you, and sure, his ESP is going to help with that. The future sight, being able to hijack you at least once, being able to hijack himself to make himself move faster. It all comes down to development and how much Shin has learned. And again, I love that while Sakamoto is down on his luck here, it's Shin that's standing up to the main big bad of the entire series. Even though, unfortunately, this standoff can't last for long. I mean, it can't last really anymore after this, because once they fall into the aquarium, Uzuki is almost attacked by a shark, and the shark, thinking it was time to eat, has bloodlust. It smells the food. Uzuki's probably bleeding too, so he smells it and he comes for him, which is just enough of a bloodlust to awaken Takamura. And as they slice through the aquarium tank, and Shin is most definitely now out of his depth. I think the way that this chapter ends with Uzuki thinking about Rion, thinking and looking outside of the tank, seeing Rion and remembering the conversation, how they always wanted to go to an aquarium and how it just seemed beautiful and how they always just wanted to be normal people. One, it just shows how hypocritical and just how far Uzuki is off of his original goal. But two, there has to be some kind of symbolism here with Uzuki being trapped in the aquarium tank, thinking about it, and a cow specifically mentioning she wondered what it would look like to look at the tank and view it from the outside. Yet Uzuki is inside the tank while Rion is looking outside. Again, I think there's a level of symbolism here that is not lost on me. They are on two separate entire wavelengths at this point. Uzuki has gone so far away from his original goal that, yeah, I can't even condone it. But unfortunately, before he even has a chance to think about this, the bloodlust of the assassin world takes over, and I don't know what's gonna happen from here. Shin was already in a battle of attrition and fighting for survival up against Takamura. Now someone has to come and save him. Last review, I said that I just wanted Shin to fight Uzuki for a little bit and then someone could save him later just so we could see how far Shin has come. I got that. Someone come save my boy. But I will definitely be here next chapter to discuss it, because I am excited with where Sakamoto Days is going, and I also want to see what the hell is going to come from this confrontation between Uzuki and Shin. Hit that like button if you haven't already, guys. Make sure you subscribe for the YouTube algorithm. They love that crap, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, 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 peace.